Made in Hollywood.
The dramatic miniseries Archie, starring Jason Isaacs, is made in Hollywood.
The answer's in the question. I wasn't playing Cary Grant. He was playing Cary Grant. He did it very well, and the world can see them in the movies, how brilliantly he did it.
Made in Hollywood.
Also on today's show, we talk with director Sean Levy about the limited series, All the Light We Cannot See.
She had such a presence on screen. She had an intelligence and a fire in her that felt like a hero.
Plus, we get a fresh take on a classic comic book series and the musical comedy The Archies. We'll look at what's new on Blu-ray with the horror thriller Five Nights at Freddy's, and a movie monster icon returns in Godzilla -1. This week on Made in Hollywood.
Made in Hollywood.
Now available on your home screen. From a troubled childhood to the heights of fame, the dramatic miniseries Archie chronicles the life of one of Hollywood's most iconic leading men, as Jason Isaacs stars as Cary Grant.
They want you to change your name. Archie Leach doesn't cut it. Anything come to mind?
Cary Grant.
Now, isn't that a beautiful name?
The answer's in the question. I wasn't playing Cary Grant. He was playing Cary Grant. He did it very well, and the world can see them in the movies, how brilliantly he did it. But it became clear to me, at least, that that was a character he struggled to play with the world, which is why he spent so much time alone or with Diane at home.
Cary Grant is a character. I have to be very careful about how he's perceived.
From the moment that I decided to engage myself in it, yes, I engaged myself fully.
I spoke to Jennifer, who was very interesting and also very brave and vulnerable, but the story she has, the man she knew was a loving, devoted dad, and she knew him obviously in his 60s.
It's the dreamiest guy in the world we're talking about.
You're not going to break my heart, are you?
Probably.
I walked into that one.
Diane, as his wife in a marriage that went really ultimately very badly wrong and caused Diane tremendous pain and upset and damage, had chronicled so brilliantly in her book all the fault lines in Cary, going right back to his childhood.
I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna be a star.
What accent you got, kid?
English.
Okay, thank you. Next.
His youth, his troubled, devastating youth, it bothered him like a bad meal. He could never digest it. And he suffered from it.
This young boy in 1900 Bristol in England being told this terrible thing by his father, which is that his mother had died. And it devastated him. And as a teenage boy, he stayed in New York by himself, didn't know anyone, and decades later, became Cary Grant, the famous movie star. And at that point, he discovers that all along his mother had been alive. This is incredible. It's an incredible story, even if it was about Joe Smith. But it happened to be about a man called Cary Grant, who was born Archie Leach. And so that was my way into the story.
You're Cary Grant.
Not to you, Mum. Just Archie.
He had to be comedic, and he had to be elegant, and he had to be charismatic and beautiful and deep. And Jason, thankfully, is all of those things.
It was a nightmare. I mean, I knew what the world was expecting. I knew people were sharpening the knives. There's an incredible costume department that all those suits are tailor-made, and the makeup and hair department did transformative things. But ultimately, there was a point I was going to have to step out front and try and seem, luckily, not like the Cary Grant of the movies. Try and seem like how he was at home.
Jason had a lot of prosthetics. His face shape was different to Cary's, and even the colour of his eyes. But then they didn't get trapped in an impersonation. Yeah. They brought complexity and depth to the roles, and they played the drama.
They made them their own. Yeah.
Anybody who ever cared about me could never do that to me.
Shut up!
Quite honestly, it's like the end of a chapter for me. It's like I can let go of it now.
What a journey we've been on.
Now, I know exactly who I am.
Now available on your home screen. Set in 1960s India, a classic comic book series gets a fresh reimagining in the coming-of-age musical comedy, The Archies.
यानी गोवा को Portuguese rule से आज़ाद करवाया, and South Africa became an independent republic. हम सब अपनी जिंदगी लगभग 25% जी चुके हैं, लेकिन किया क्या है हम में से किसी ने?
कुछ नहीं.
Archie comics were big in India, and this was at a time when India was not liberalized. So it was one of the few things of the West that we had. It was literally our portal to this country.
लोगों को हंसाना एक आर्ट है, Dad. I think there's a real profession in comedy.
भूलना मत, अब तुम लंदन में नहीं रिवरडेल में हो.
रिवरडेल को भी याद रखना चाहिए ना कि Veronica is back.
When it was offered to me, I was really excited because this was like a massive part of my childhood. And then, I mean, there was a bit of panic as to how am I going to adapt it and still retain the wholesomeness, you know. And Riverdale had come out, and it was huge. And it was a modern take and an adaptation which this generation was used to. So we knew we didn't want to repeat that, and we wanted to go back to the nostalgia.
तेरे को सच में Riverdale छोड़ने का है?
Imagine if Cliff Richard had not left Lucknow. I could make music that will reach people, music that will really... Tomorrow evening, सिर्फ तुम और मैं.
But it did. We wanted new kids. They also, the characters they were going to play are iconic. So we didn't want any established actors because they come with an image. So we really, literally had to scout. We auditioned everybody that age that remotely wanted to act and didn't think they could ever act. All of them, and we found these 7.
He takes every girl out bets. बताया जाएगा. आर्ची और कुत्ते की दुम कभी सीधे नहीं होंगे.
Betty and Ronnie are best friends. आज नहीं तो कल तेरी बात होगी और फिर तेरा क्या होगा, Ambrose?
What Archie was to us, and what it's a feeling. Like reading Archie comics when you were 10 or 12 in India, it was like getting a hug. And I wanted to transmit that feeling. I wanted to make what it made me feel like. I wanted to be able to project that. And it just made sense to go back in time, as opposed to do a contemporary version yet again. Also for this generation on some level to see what life was like, you know, where less was more. And I mean, people had fewer things and they just seemed happier.
Coming up, we talk with director Sean Levy about the historical war drama, All the Light We Cannot See. To find out where to watch any movie, check out MoviePhone.com. Find it, watch it.
She had such a presence on screen. She had an intelligence and a fire in her that felt like a hero.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.
Now available on your home screen. A blind French girl and a teenage Nazi soldier form a kindred connection over the radio waves of World War II in the dramatic limited series, All the Light We Cannot See.
In this time of darkness, of invading cities, I'm trying to remember. Light lasts forever. Darkness lasts not even for 1 second.
I felt going in that if I could find someone to play Marie who was herself low vision or blind, that it wouldn't just be the right way to approach it, it would be the better way to approach it, because it would be the authentic way to tell this story. And so we put out an open casting call and got well over 1,000 auditions.
I sent in an audition tape in my bedroom, but I didn't think I was ever for a second going to get it. And so I prepped a little speech thanking them and hoping that they would still continue to look for a actress who was blind or low vision so that this role could get played authentically. And I was going to ask if they could see someone like me being good enough to go to community theater and maybe audition there. And I never got to give that speech because
You got the part.
that was it.
She had such a presence on screen. She had an intelligence and a fire in her that felt like a hero and felt like it could bring this hero to life.
I know that broadcasting could get me executed. But I will not be silenced. I hope you will tune in again tomorrow.
I had to learn everything for the first time from the ground up as I was doing it. So that was remarkably exciting and thrilling, but also a lot of pressure because it's such a unique circumstance as a newcomer, as a first timer, after like my first audition to be playing this leading character surrounded by people who have been doing their jobs for years and who are at the top of their craft. So I just put so much time into trying to learn my craft and create this character from the ground up, and thankfully we have beautiful source material to work from.
And I think it was just really beautiful to see how eager Arya was to learn. And just every day when she was there, I could just tell that you wanted to understand how it all works, and you want to get better, and you want to improve and
so cool.
get the gist of it. And it was just really, really
to say
thrilling
that
to
you
see.
Learned from
So
someone
cool.
like Sean,
Yeah.
and then also really I want to give credit to Lewis, because I also was able to shadow Sean filming Lewis's scenes. So Lewis and Sean were both there to be sounding boards.
When I was a child, I was trained to locate radio frequencies. The things that I've seen haunt me.
The real challenge of adapting something this good and this brilliant is to be able to confidently say that you know the characters well enough to have them do things they don't do in the book. So setting the characters free can only happen if you're sure you know who they are, what they would do in those circumstances.
I don't know how long I have, but I will remain here, where it all began.
In spite of the many ways the world can break our heart, particularly in wartime, and the cruelty that people can do, that there is the critical importance of believing in the light we can't see. And it's so hard, but also so important to hold on to your humanity, to your empathy, regardless of the uniform they wear or the side of the world or conflict that they're on.
The most important light is the light you cannot see.
To find out where to watch any movie, check out Moviephone.com. Find it, watch it. Up next, we look at what's new on Blu-ray with the horror thriller Five Nights at Freddy's, and one of cinema's most iconic movie monsters returns in Godzilla -1.
I was aware of the film adaptation before I was familiar with the game, so as soon as I heard about the project, I started diving into the game and the franchise.
Made in Hollywood. Made in Hollywood.
Coming soon to Blu-ray. Based on the cult classic video game, Josh Hutcherson gets more than he bargained for after accepting a job at a rundown pizza joint in the horror thriller Five Nights at Freddy's.
This place was huge in the 80s with the kids. They shut it down years ago. The owner's just not ready to let it go yet.
I will work and you will sleep.
I understand.
Give me your hand.
I was aware of the film adaptation before I was familiar with the game, so as soon as I heard about the project, I started diving into the game and the franchise.
All you have to do is keep your eyes on the monitor.
Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's, where fantasy and fun come to life.
Okay.
The creator of the game, Scott Cawthon, was a huge part of the film as a writer-producer, and he was letting us know if what we were doing was going to stick with the fan base at all times. So we felt like we were really able to just go for it.
You must be new security guard.
Can I help you, officer?
Have you met them yet?
Met who?
Obviously, the world of a feature-length film encompasses a lot more locations and spaces and characters. The game, you're a security guard and you're looking at the monitors. So we were completely expanding upon new territory with the movie, which was also really exciting. They were really there, they were practical, they were interacting with each other and with the cast, the human cast, and they were incredible. We took a lot of love and care in terms of designing them to make sure they were accurate to the designs of the game, but also, you know, expansive and three-dimensionally alive in a way that no one had ever seen before.
The police searched Freddy's.
Hey.
They never found the kids.
Josh is really incredible. He's such a sweet guy. He's so talented, and he was really, really invested in the Mike character, and just every day was looking for ways to make him truthful and a really layered character to take this journey with.
One of the most iconic movie monsters of all time returns to post-war Japan in the thrilling action drama Godzilla -1.
こりゃ何だって言うんだ。
So with my intention when I sat down to write the script was that Godzilla is big and is massive. So sometimes the story is told where you switch to Godzilla and then you switch the human story. And they end up kind of existing independently, but I really wanted to make sure that they were intertwined in a really balanced way. So that, yeah, the human drama and whatever's going on with Godzilla, it had a right balance.
我々しかこの国の未来を切り開くことはできないんだ。
あの怪物の生態は未知のことが多すぎて。
それぞれの時代によってゴジラ。
In the world of Godzilla, each generation are under their different circumstances and they have to fight against Godzilla in that context. But I think when you're going through those battles, the values of those people at that era are is reflected. So I think it's really important for people now to be able to put a mirror up to yourself and just reflect what your values are right now in this day. So I think that's what really resonates with people around the world. It's a good time to reflect, and also obviously fun to see how Godzilla, is defeated with each generation.
あいつの未来を守ってやりたい。
概念があって。
So I feel that this kind of goes back to Japanese Shinto and animism. So basically, it's the concept of an animal or object kind of absorbing so much evil energy or the negativity of the world that it takes shape. And I almost feel that Godzilla is what is taking shape. And it's up to us humans not to kill it necessarily, but to calm it. And this needs to cycle every couple of decades. And I think maybe it's just the timing that we need to be reminded and go through the exercise of visualizing what your worries and evils and whatever's going on in the world, and going through the journey and going through this process of calming those negative energies in the form of Godzilla.
Godzilla -1.
Stay tuned, there's more coming up on Made in Hollywood.
Made in Hollywood.
Thanks for watching Made in Hollywood, powered by MoviePhone. For more behind-the-screen content, check out MoviePhone.com.